Welcome back, fellow YouTubers. It's 1 p.m. Wednesday, January 24th, and I'm in the lab. Unfortunately, I had a shoot today, but it was canceled last minute, so we had to do a rescheduled date. I figured before I get into this subject that you see on the table, it'd be a good idea for me to go over the cancellation policy. If you visit www.ToonographyEntertainment.com, you can visit the payment policy link, and if you scroll midway through, you'll see where it says payment methods accepted. I'll go over the basic few paragraphs just so that you guys know for future cases what to do in a scenario. Of course, you can always adapt and adjust it to your own video production business. Payment methods accepted. Make reservations at least 2 weeks prior to the desired shoot date. Weddings, Sweet 15s, and 16s require a 30-day notice. Music videos and all other projects require at least a 2-week notice. We do not accept checks, primarily cash payments, PayPal, and credit card payments. Visa, Discover, American Express, and MasterCard. Note, if you are using a credit card, there will be a 2.75% fee per transaction. Must have proper photo ID, no exceptions. A 50% deposit is due upfront to book the date. The remaining 50% is required within 3 days of the work being completed. That means the final edit. For last minute bookings, events with less than 2 to 3 day notice, the entire balance is due up front. All out-of-state inquiries require a gas and toll fee to be added on to the final invoice. Any fees incurred for hotel reservations, parking, tolls, etc. will be the responsibility of the client. Cancellation policy. Pay attention to this, guys. If the event is canceled for whatever reason within 48 hours of the start time, 25% of the deposit is fully refundable. If the event is canceled 24 hours before the scheduled day of the shoot, then your down payment is non-refundable. Certain conditions apply and may be forgiven. Rainy days, snow days, bad inclement weather in general, weather conditions are out of our hands. In this case, a rain date will be scheduled. There's a $200 rescheduling fee for last minute cancellations. Please be courteous and be sure that the date you're booking is good for all parties participating. No exceptions. Alright guys, so that's just a basic overview of the cancellation policy I try to apply in my business. You guys can definitely feel free to adapt and modify and adjust it to fit your own business. But even if I would have went on to the shoot, I was briefly going to touch base on how to properly balance your DJI 3-axis gimbal. Now before I get into how to balance it properly, I figured I'd just give you a few pointers. Don't overuse this tool, guys. This tool is a specialty tool used for certain events, certain occasions, certain shots. Don't excessively use this tool on your music videos, on your short films, etc., etc. I myself have had 3-axis gimbals for over 3 years, and if you look at my work, you wouldn't be able to tell that I use a 3-axis gimbal. I use them rarely, I use them when they're needed, I use them for specialty shots, and I still use regular shots. I still use a tripod, I still use handheld shots, and I use several other tools in order to help me execute my video production project. There's a variety of tools that each play their own role. It's like a car audio system. You don't get a tweeter to do a subwoofer's job, and you don't get a subwoofer to do a tweeter's job. Every speaker in the car audio system has its own purpose, and in this case, this has its own purpose. Now that we have that out the way, we'll get into balancing this DJI Ronin gimbal. As you can see here, you guys are probably wondering from the beginning, like, why is that so unbalanced? I left it like that on purpose. I left it unbalanced so that you guys can see me balance it. I will do my best to keep this balance in real time so that you guys have an example of how long it actually takes me to balance a camera on a gimbal that's not balanced. The first tip is make sure to install your camera with everything that you're going to be using. That means the lens, the SD card, the battery, anything else that you're going to be including on the camera, whether it's a lens hood, make sure to install that onto the camera before installing it to the gimbal. Next, when you install your camera to the actual quick release plate that is provided, you want to place the quick release plate into the actual base. For now, I locked it in because I just want to show you guys. But this is one of the main things that also help balance it, which is this quick release arm that you guys see right here. So this is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna balance each axis, one axis at a time, and then we'll talk about the importance of balancing it. All right, the first thing I wanna do is I wanna get my horizontal axis better than what it is right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these two wing nuts up here. I'm just gonna loosen them. Now you'll see that I'm able to move this around freely. Now, in order to get this horizontal axis correct, I want to move to the opposite direction of where it's weighing in at. So since it's weighing in over here, I want to move to the opposite direction. So I'm going to move over here. Already off the back, you guys can see that it's slightly better off the back. So let me just mark it there. Mark it meaning I'm going to tighten it up, and I'm just going to get a feel for it. All right, great. So as you can see, within seconds, my left and right axis balanced. Now we'll come back to that later. That's just a pre-basic balancing. You might need to come back and tweak that up later when you balance everything else. Next step you want to do is work on your tilt axis, which is your vertical axis. You see how it's front lens heavy? And every time I bring it up, it just falls forward. That's because it's front lens heavy. Now what you want to do is you want to adjust the quick release plate. Remember this quick release plate that I was talking about here? There's this little arm. It's a quick release lock. You can unlock it. You heard how I unlocked it? So after you unlock it, you want to move forward and back until you find a sweet spot. Now on this side, there's actually numbers and measurements. So for example, once you find your sweet spot for your specific camera and your specific lens and that's set up, and let's say if you use the gimbal between multiple cameras, you can always write down or mark the sweet spot, the sweet number for that specific setup, so you don't have to go through just guessing every time. But for tutorial purposes right now, I'm just gonna fill it out for you guys. So I'm gonna try to balance it front and back until I find that sweet spot. All right, so now it's too rear heavy. Now I'm gonna move forward. Now it's too front heavy. I'm gonna move a hairline. Sometimes you have to move a hairline at a time. All right, as you can see, it's a lot better. It's already getting a lot better. I'm gonna move it a hairline back a little bit more. So after I lock it in, as you can see, it's balanced way more than it was in the beginning. You see how it tilts over slightly? So now we're gonna try to adjust this axis again. Now we're gonna finesse it and tweak it up a little bit so they can both match and correspond with each other. So now I'm gonna come over here, just gonna loosen it up a little bit. And now I'm gonna I'm gonna move to the opposite direction from where it's weighing in at. So if it's weighing into the right, I'm gonna move to the left. If it's weighing into the left, I'm gonna move to the right. So little baby hair increments. You see, little baby hair increments. The slightest movement can mess it up. So now let me tighten it up. All right, so after it's tight, I'm gonna check it again. All right, guys, so as you can see, it's pretty much balanced. And I didn't even get to the back top axis yet. We're still focused on the front. The way you make sure this is balanced is the following. This is the test you must do to make sure you're not stressing your motors. Your DJI or any other gimbal for that matter has motors, and it also has an electronic computer with a specific number and settings that it sets to the motors. If your camera is improperly balanced and cannot pass this test that I showed you right here on this gimbal, then you are actually straining your motors and you're doing your gimbal more harm than good. Your axes should stay wherever you place them. So for example, if I tilt this right, it should stay right, like so. If I tilt this left, it should stay left, like so. If I put it straight again, it should stay like that. If I tilt it forward, it should stay like that, as you can see. And if I bring it back up, it should stay like that. That's how you reduce the amount of stress that's going into your motors. If you're going into a shoot and your camera's tilted forward or your camera's tilted to the left and the right, and you just turn on your gimbal and expect your gimbal to straighten it out, you're stressing those motors. Your gimbal is not gonna last that long. Then you're gonna have to pay for expensive repairs because you didn't properly balance your gimbal. Properly balancing your gimbal not only helps the lifespan of the gimbal, but sometimes I see videos or I see music videos or films or something where the horizon line is just the hairline off, or it's accidentally crooked by user error. Or I've even seen it in drone videos where the gimbal on the drone is not balanced correctly and the axis or the horizon line in the picture is crooked and slightly off. That's because they expect the motors to straighten it up, but that's not how it works. You always have to make sure that you're properly balancing it before you even turn on that motor. All right, now for the next step. So what I want to do is I want to turn the gimbal all the way around. As you can see, I just spun the axis, and now I have the rear facing me. There's a knob and there's a lever here. What I want to do is, before I even adjust this knob and this lever, based off my basic front settings, I want to take this and you want to lift it, let's say from the right first. You lift it from the right, And if it tilts the way you just saw, you see how I just moved to the right? Let's do it again. If it tilts like that, and then you tilt this side, and the camera drifts that way, that's incorrectly balanced. That's not balanced properly. So what you want to do is, you want to loosen this top lever right here, turn the knob right in order to put the camera forward, or you could turn the knob left in order for the camera to come towards you. You have to turn this knob until you find a sweet spot where you can pick it up and it doesn't tilt right or left. So let me see if I get that sweet spot. Remember, we're focused on this axis right here. We don't want this axis right here to move left or right. We want this axis, when I tilt it up, to just stay in the middle. So let's see if we can get it to stay like that. All right, moving to the right. Let me turn it in again and see where it moves. All right, we're looking better. Slightly, it's moving slightly, so I'm gonna tilt it more to the right. You see? Let's turn it this way. You see how it stays in the middle? That means that that's properly balanced. And I'm actually liking that sweet spot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock it in. Great, so now look it. It stays in the middle and it doesn't swing. That's ideal. If it swings, that's improperly balanced. So now that we have the top axis balanced, the horizontal axis balanced, and the vertical tilt axis balanced, we have a pretty good rough estimate to fine tweak and fine tune from. Meaning, if you have anything that's slightly off, that's not living up to your standards or not working for you, meaning if it's just a hairline off, or if it's just a hairline off over there, or if it's dipping back, or if it's dipping forward, or let's say if you tilt it forward and it still dips forward or it still dips back, now's your time to fine tune, meaning adjust each and every axis one hair at a time, one number at a time. Right now, where it's at is looking pretty satisfactory. So we'll do one last final test. We'll tilt forward. Excellent. We'll balance it. Excellent. We'll tilt right. Excellent. We'll tilt left. Excellent. We'll straighten it back out. And now we'll pick it up like this from one side. Beautiful. And now let's try the opposite side. Beautiful. So as you guys see, it's pretty balanced from the start. Now at this point, since everything has had a basic balance, I could take any notes down on the numbers where it was set at. So in the future, when I'm going to shoots and I'm using this lens and I'm using this camera, I don't have to sit there and try to configure it out and figure it out on set again. Even though it only may take roughly 5 to 10 minutes, it's just good practice to take that number down so that you know for future reference. But now you can turn it on, and when you turn it on, you don't have to worry about your motors being stressed out. You see? It caught on to it excellently. I always recommend just getting it balanced correctly before you even start using it, so you can get the best experience with it and you don't kill your battery and you don't ruin your motors. Alright guys, so I gotta get back to editing. Even though it was a last minute cancellation, I took advantage of the morning time and I edited another project, and I actually have the client coming sooner to take a look at it and screen it. So I gotta get busy. After that, I gotta edit a music video, and then I gotta back up this footage from this vlog you're watching right now. So hit that thumbs up button. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.